Hi, friends. I'm Andy Paul, host of the Sales Enablement Podcast. Next up, we have five-time best-selling author and sales management strategist Lee Salz, who will share what salespeople can and should do right now. Many of you and your sales teams are probably feeling like you're in a bit of a funk. Lee will not only get you motivated again, but will also share 6 crucial actions you need to take immediately. Now, let's get into it.
Hi, I'm Lee Salz, sales management strategist and author of Sales Differentiation. I want to thank you for the opportunity to talk with you here today. I genuinely appreciate you investing time for this program. Now, there are no slides with today's talk. It's just me sharing with you my perspective of what salespeople can and should do right now. And the goal is to be successful both short and long term. And I've asked for this opportunity to share this talk with you, given the circumstances that we're all facing. I'm not being paid for this talk. This is my way of helping each one of you during this, we'll call it, interesting times. It's my way of giving back to the sales community, a community that's given so much to me. Look, this is a challenging time for everyone. It's emotional, it's scary. There's so much unknown for all of us. And the media, well, they're not helping us, are they? They keep pounding us with negative news and perpetuate our fears. They show us these up to the minute stats of the sick, like we're watching a scoreboard at a ball game. And we get this conflicting information. Wear a mask, don't wear a mask. We don't even know what to believe anymore. And so many of us have been left to stare at the sky in search of answers, or at least for toilet paper. And no one's been immune to this issue. We've all been impacted and aren't sure of what to do right now. And if what I've just described is how you're feeling, rest assured, you're not alone. So many people today are feeling this way, but this also means we're at a crossroads. We have a choice. We could decide to curl up in our beds and wait for this all to be over. That's certainly an option. Or we can decide to dig in our heels and take the actions necessary to solidify today and tomorrow for ourselves, our families, our fellow employees, and our companies. And my world is challenging just like yours. I've had some clients need to pause consulting engagements because of cash flow concerns. Two of my kids who are away at college are now home doing online study. Same for my son, who's a junior in high school. And my family is looking to me today the same way yours is looking to you to stay strong, to fight the fight every day. Now, let's be clear. We're not first responders as salespeople, right? Far from it. But salespeople are the front line of our companies. And all employees are counting on us to rise to the occasion. We're their hope. So you're probably hearing about funds coming from the federal government. That's just a band-aid. That's not the remedy. The solution is us, salespeople. We are the remedy. And our employers need us to sell their way out of this. So that means we don't have the luxury of burying our heads in the sand and waiting for this all to end. We need to do something now. So when I said a moment ago that we have a choice, we really don't. We need to take some key actions now. Now, some salespeople are afraid to reach out to prospects and clients now. Sales is not to be feared, but rather revered. If your heart is in the right place, you'll never be wrong, which means you should have no fear of making calls to prospects and clients right now. I'll share with you a couple of stories. An accountant coaching client of mine, he's not a salesperson, he's a CPA practitioner, but he also has business development expectations. And despite all the issues you've heard about in New York City where he is, he's continued his business development activities and he's won 7 new deals during the stay-at-home period. And the other day he sent me a text. Yeah, I don't want to get this wrong. He said, coronavirus couldn't stop the ink I got today. It can be done, and it's working for him because he believes it can be done. An accounting software client of mine had record sales months in March, April, and May. And June looks fantastic too. Their salespeople believe it can be done, and I hope you do as well. You see, mindset is so important in sales, not just today, always. If you believe you can't sell today, you're right. If you believe you can sell today, you're right. You get to choose which you're going to believe. Now, one of the aspects I absolutely love about sales is that sales has its roots in optimism. We are fundamentally optimistic people. Now, sometimes our sales managers wish we weren't so optimistic, like when we forecast deals and overset expectations, but we truly are optimistic. That's our core. That's part of the recipe that makes you so successful. Don't let anyone or any circumstance take that away from you. Now, some people are tossing out trite expressions like, this is the new normal. Sure, you've heard it. And that certainly messes with your head. But we have to take a step back and recognize this isn't the new normal. It's a blip. It may not feel like it right now, but this is just a moment in time. One day in the not too distant future, we will have in person meetings again. We'll work out of offices with our colleagues again. There'll be a return to business normalcy in the near future. And very few people disagree with that statement, and I hope you share my perspective on that. This will sooner than later be behind us. Now, what some have already discovered is that uncertainty breeds opportunity. Let me say that again. Uncertainty breeds opportunity. There's opportunity for all of us right now, and you can see it happening. Major League Baseball's on pause right now. There's no games being played. So their uniform manufacturer, well, there's no uniforms to be made because there's no games. What are they doing? They're making masks. General Motors and Ford, you've heard about them? They're making ventilators, not cars. They're helping us, but let me be really clear. They're making cash, boatloads of it. They're not volunteers. I mean, look at Zoom. Who heard of Zoom just a few months ago, right? And now it's pervasive. Now it's, gosh, probably going to be added to Webster's. Those are just a few examples, but there truly is opportunity for all of us right now. We just need to look for it. Now, there is one thing we've all been given right now. We've all been given the gift of time. Today, we have come to appreciate the value of a minute more than ever before in our lifetime. Time is precious. It's a resource that can't be changed. No one gets more or fewer minutes in their day. We all get the same amount. And there's a huge question that every one of us faces today. How are we going to use those minutes? Here's one thing I can assure you of. The winners from today will be those who use today's minutes wisely. Once the minute's passed, it's gone forever. And no amount of minute will ever bring that minute back to us. So how we invest our time today determines our future. We can't let a single minute pass without making a conscious decision of how we're going to invest that time. For me, I have a new book in development titled Sell Different, and the manuscript's due to the publisher in September, and wasn't really sure I was going to be able to hit that deadline. Well, I've used the time that I've been given to write. And just over the last couple of weeks, I've cranked out over 30,000 words. And now my plan is to submit the manuscript at the end of this month. Now, look, the concept of time investment isn't revolutionary. I certainly didn't make it up. But what it doesn't do is answer the question for you of how to best do it. Well, today I'm going to share with you a series of critical action steps you can and should take right now to improve today's and tomorrow's circumstance. Now, there's this metaphor that's been used for ages, contrasting salespeople with athletes. I'm sure you've heard it. Salespeople are often referred to as athletes in business. Now, I'm a competitive power lifter. My older son plays college baseball. My younger son plays high school baseball. One of my long-term clients is the San Francisco Giants AAA baseball team. I've been immersed in the world of athlete. And what I have found is that there is one major difference between athletes and most salespeople. Athletes work countless hours improving their skill set to ensure when they're in the game, when they're in competition, they perform flawlessly. Unfortunately, most salespeople don't do that. They keep playing the game over and over again, hoping to get better. So this leads to my first action step for you. I'm asking you to take stock in yourself. Identify the aspects of sales where you say, you know what, I could be better. None of us is perfect. We can all improve. Maybe it's in the way you prospect or your approach with discovery. Maybe it's your understanding of all the solutions your company could bring to bear. Whatever that is, take this gift of time that you've been given and turn your weaknesses into strengths. Read books, research, watch videos, read blogs. Use these precious minutes to improve your sales game. Now, there's a lot of discussion today about whether or not to talk with clients. So let me address that for you. We need to do it. We need to reach out to clients. They need to hear from us. And the fear that so many of us have, I hear it all the time, so many of us have is we're going to come across salesy in our approach. Well, as I shared a little while ago, if your heart is in the right place, you're never going to be wrong. Reach out to them. Show that you care. Don't be afraid to have conversations with them. So my second action step for you to do just right now is to reach out to your clients and have conversations with them. And whether that be by email or in a phone conversation, start off by saying something like, I hope you, your family, and your team are doing well under the circumstances. And use that introduction to lead into business conversation. And stay away from saying things like, I hope all is well, or I hope you're having a great week. It's just filler. You know, they probably aren't having the greatest of days right now. So that's not going to help you have a productive conversation. Now, something else to recognize is that most people are over the virus conversation. Don't want to talk about it anymore. They want to get back to work just like you. So after that introduction I described, turn the conversation to business. I mean, think about this. You're providing an outlet for them to forget about the current mess. So rather than focus on it, because you're fundamentally an optimistic person, you're going to be seen as a breath of fresh air. Try it. You'll love the results. What about selling? Should we do that now? Let's talk about that. Well, if you think about it, most companies today are operating at less than full speed. So if you sell something that requires change in provider, change in supplier, change in process, change in systems, or even planning, this is a fantastic time to have conversations with prospects. Why? Because we know they're operating at a slower pace than normal, which means this is a great time to explore change, right? Because we know the risk of disruption has been minimized because, again, they're moving slower. They have the luxury of planning and a thoughtful transition, or maybe call it implementation, because they've been given the gift of time. And time is not something busy executives are accustomed to having. Now, don't expect them to recognize that they have this gift. You have to guide them to help them see that they have this wonderful opportunity right now. Now, one thing we all know coming out of this mess, companies are going to be looking for three big things: revenue, cost savings, and efficiency. Note I didn't say a cheaper price. I said cost reduction, a strong return on investment, solutions that impact the top or the bottom line. So if what you sell helps them generate revenue, provides efficiency or cost reduction, you couldn't ask for a better time for this conversation. Now, of course, we don't want to be seen as ambulance chasers, but that shouldn't stop our outreach efforts. What that means is we need to be more sophisticated in our outreach. In chapter 11 of my book, Sales Differentiation, I talk about this concept of a sales crime theory as a prospecting approach. And this strategy is founded in the answer to this question: why should they want to have a conversation with you right now? Not why should we talk with them, because that would be egocentric. That would make it about us. But why should they want to have a conversation with you right now? What I'm saying is, you don't send a prospecting email or even dial a phone unless you can answer that question. So if what you sell has a revenue benefit, cost savings, or provides efficiency, those are the sales tools you need to effectively prospect right now. What's also key is your prospecting message. Make it about them and what you believe they seek to accomplish, not about you, your products, and your company. And keep in mind, all you're asking them for when you prospect is for an exploratory conversation. It's non threatening. So that's my third action task for you. Prospect using the sales crime theory approach to give purpose for your outreach right now. Now, when you think about prospecting, there are two sides to the success equation. There's quality and there's quantity. And what I've just described is a strategy to have a better quality outreach with prospects. But we also need to be mindful of quantity, the number of attempts we make to reach a prospect. And you've probably seen the many studies showing the number of attempts required to reach a prospect leading to a sale versus the number of attempts most salespeople make and the huge delta between those two. Most salespeople don't make enough attempts to reach prospects. Let me take it even a step further. Most salespeople don't have enough strategy in the quantitative side of prospecting. They don't. Well, I put together a 4-week prospecting rhythm that includes a variety of creative and effective techniques to reach prospects. And if you'd like a copy, all you need to do is send me an email at lsalz at sales, S-A-L-E-S, architects, architects.com. And in the subject, just write prospecting rhythm, and I'll send it over. Now, by the way, the quality and quantity prospecting considerations, that's not just for now. They should always be part of your selling repertoire. How about a target list? You may call it a prospect list. If you don't have one, build it now. That's another critical action task to do today. This mess will come to an end sooner than later. And when things quickly improve, and they will, that's not the time to say, who should I call today? You're going to be late. Put those lists together now. The companies, contact people, whatever other research you need for meaningful outreach because you have the time to do it. Another great action task right now is business development, particularly on LinkedIn. It's a great forum to demonstrate your and your company's expertise, and that could lead prospects coming to you. Wouldn't that be awesome? Instead of you having a prospect and engage them, they're coming to you. Wonderful. Now, a few steps here if we're going to use LinkedIn. First one, you got to brush up your LinkedIn profile. Make sure it's polished, make sure it's accurate, and represents you well. And if fishing is one of your favorite hobbies and you've caught a fish yay big, that's wonderful. That's your Facebook profile, not your LinkedIn one. Second thing you're going to want to do is build your network. If you haven't already done so, connect with your clients, industry partners, company colleagues, and prospects with whom you have a relationship. Why? Because of the third step of the strategy, which is you're going to share information in your profile to showcase your expertise. Let me give you an example. If you wanted to be seen as an expert in babysitting, all you would need to do is share lots of information on social media about babysitting on a regular basis, and in 30 days, the world would see you as a babysitting expert. Notice I didn't say you need to write blogs. I didn't say you need to create videos. You just need to share information on a specific topic. That's the core premise of how social media works. And if you're connected with me on LinkedIn, you probably notice I actively share content related to sales, sales management, and that creates a perception of me around those topics. And you have that exact same opportunity in your world, and that can generate prospects for you. Number 4, join groups, sales ones. Like I've built the largest sales management group on LinkedIn. It's called Sales Management Executives. I invite you to join, but also join industry specific ones. Share information in those groups, create thought-provoking discussion, and participate in discussions for the purpose of showcasing your expertise around the solutions that you offer. Now, there's one huge mistake that's made on LinkedIn. See it all the time. I'm sure you do as well. You accept that invitation, and you can measure with an egg timer how quickly you're going to get a solicitation email, right? I hit click, I accept them into the network, tick, tick, tick. Oh, you want me to buy something from you? It's an instant turnoff. If you were at an in-person networking event, you wouldn't walk up to someone and 2 seconds later say, hey, you want to buy something from me? It's a turnoff. Don't do it. Just like with in-person networking, you've got to earn the right to sell. Now, as you probably know, I help salespeople differentiate both what they sell and how they sell it. That's what my book, Sales Differentiation, is all about. Well, this is the perfect time to challenge yourself with respect to your own sales differentiation strategy. Right now, review the questions that you ask prospects and your messaging and ask yourself this question. Are they helping prospects get as excited as you are about your differentiators? Or are you constantly battling over price? If you're regularly in a price war, take the time now to brush up that strategy so prospects perceive the same value in what you offer that you do. I mean, I'm doing the same thing right now. I'm working with a videographer on a new sizzle reel. That's the marketing tool speakers use to acquire speaking engagements. But if you think about it, there's not going to be a huge sales meeting or conference for a while, right? Why would I be doing this now? Because when things change, and they will soon, I'm going to be ready to take advantage of those opportunities. And I hope you're going to be ready as well. See, you also have an opportunity to differentiate yourself based on how you sell. And I encourage you to challenge yourself with this question. What is it that I can do different than my competitors that my buyers will find meaningful? Every interaction you have between yourself and a buyer provides you with opportunities to offer meaningful value that the competition does not. And not enough of us think about those opportunities, but they're there. Invest the time, analyze your prospects from prospect all the way through client, and find those areas that allow you to provide meaningful value that the competition does not. One final action step I'm going to share with you today. We talked a lot about mindset, having a healthy mind, but we need to have a healthy body as well. So get fresh air every day. I have to remind myself to do that as well. I've worked out of a home office since 2007, and I have to remind myself every day, get fresh air. And with that, get exercise too. I feel bad for my poor dog, Rocky. He's absolutely exhausted because he's going on so many walks. Because there's five of us in the house. Every time I want to get some exercise, take a walk. Come on, Rocky, let's go. So now he's looking at us like this. But we got to get exercise every day and eat right so you don't create other health issues for yourself. See, I don't know why. Whenever I go to the supermarket, the mint Milanos want to jump right into my shopping cart. Well, keep the right food in your home so you aren't tempted to eat poorly. So to wrap up, like we talked about earlier, time is a precious resource. We've all been given the gift of time, and we're never going to get those minutes back. None of us wants to look back at this period of time and say, I wish I did. There are actions to be done that help us today and tomorrow. So let me recap those 6 action tasks for you. The first one was to take stock in yourself and identify the aspects of sales in which you could be better. Take action on those and turn your weaknesses into strengths. Number 2, reach out to your clients. They need to hear from you. Speak from the heart, and you'll never be wrong. Number 3, prospecting must continue. We're all counting on salespeople to continue that outreach. And like I said, the dollars coming from the government are just a tiny band aid. The real solution is you. Salespeople are the remedy every company is looking for. And if what you sell has a revenue opportunity for your clients, increases efficiency, reduces their cost, timing is great right now. And we need to be mindful in our prospecting outreach of both the quality and the quantity side of the equation. Number 4, leverage LinkedIn for business development. Increase your connections, engage on the platform to attract prospects to you. Number 5, reflect on your sales differentiation strategy. Look at both what you sell, how you sell it, and work on communication of your differentiators and look at every opportunity to provide meaningful value in every touch point you have with buyers. And number 6, don't just have a healthy mind, keep your body healthy as well. Get fresh air, exercise, and eat right. And I encourage you, leverage your optimism. We are fundamentally optimistic people. Watch videos, read things, and do things that improve your mindset, things that make you feel better, not bring you down. You know, I mentioned at the beginning, I'm not being paid for this talk, so you're probably saying, why are you doing this 2 to 3 times a day? Very simple. Well, I hope I inspired your optimism. This talk makes me feel better too. It makes me feel like I'm making a contribution and helping people in a time of need. And I hope you take the action steps I've shared here today because uncertainty breeds opportunity. There's opportunity for all of us right now if we take those critical steps. And I look forward to the day when we can be in the same room again, enjoying one another's company and celebrating your successes. Thank you for investing your time with me today. I hope you leave this program in a better place than when you arrived. I hope I've inspired your resilience and challenged you with some tasks to strengthen your selling. Stay healthy, stay safe, stay optimistic, and persevere. And if I can be of further assistance to you or your salespeople, email me at lsalz@salesarchitects, and that's plural.com, or you can just call me. You don't need to have a sales grind theory to do it. 763-416-4321. Make today a great day because you can. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Lee. That was great. Hey, everyone. This is Alex Lamaskis. I'm with Ring DNA. And we've got a couple minutes left here for some questions from the audience. And we got a bunch that came through. Lee, it may be good for the audience for you to share your email address and contact info again. I think I'd answered at least 10 of you individually, but if you wouldn't mind sharing that again, just in case anybody didn't ask.
Sure. So if that's for that prospecting rhythm, so in the subject of that email, put prospecting rhythm. And my email address is lsalz at sales architects, architects.com.
Great, thanks for that. Now we got a couple of minutes here left for some questions, and there was a bunch, so I apologize any of you that we're not going to get to. We'll be sure to connect you via email so you can get those questions answered. But the ones that really stood out to me were around advice for reps who just are kind of feeling like a little bit pushed down and stuck. What's your advice for a rep who feels like they're being pushy?
Oh, being pushy. Okay, so I thought you meant push. When you said pushy, meaning that they feel like when they're reaching out to sell that they are being pushy. So I'll come back to something I shared in the talk, which is if your heart's in the right place, you're never going to be wrong. So if you think about the solutions that you offer and you say, where is the fit today for the people that I'm reaching out to? And you think about where their priorities are, like I talked about in this talk, revenue, cost reduction, efficiency. If you tie into any of those where you can be helpful to that organization, then there's a connection there, and you shouldn't feel like you're being pushy. You're being helpful.
That's great advice for sure. The same person also asked something along the lines of how would you suggest they start reworking their process if prospects just aren't responding at the rate that they need or were hoping?
Yeah, so that has nothing to do with the current circumstance. The expectation salespeople have when it comes to prospecting of getting responses from people versus what they actually get is a huge delta there. So that prospecting rhythm, if you haven't already asked for it, do send me an email. I think that'll really help because it gives some structure to the outreach, has some creative techniques in there, not just saying call this number of times.
That's great. Last question that we've got time for. What's your advice for knowing who the right prospect is to reach out to and maybe where to start in this new world?
So the first thing is to look introspectively at what you're selling and say, where is the fit? Who's going to see the value in what I offer? I'll tell a quick story. People often ask me, where did this whole sales differentiation passion come from? It actually started when I was a teenager. And I got a summer job working for a family friend who decided to start a dry cleaning business. But he didn't own a dry cleaner. It was strictly the transportation. He had this idea, and by the way, I'm dating myself here, but this is in the 1980s. But he had this idea that people would be willing to pay more for someone to come to their home to pick up their dry cleaning and then bring it back to them clean. And I was intrigued by this, and it was my summer job was to be his driver. So I was optimistic and hopeful that it was going to work. But he had this vision that everybody would want to pay for this. And the answer is he was partially right. There were people that were willing to pay for this service. I lived in Marlboro, New Jersey at the time, and a lot of people in that town commuted to New York City. So that was hour and a half, 2 hours each day. So people who didn't have the time really valued having someone that could pick up and deliver their dry cleaning. But if they had someone that was staying at home, or they worked in close proximity and time really wasn't a concern, they didn't see value in it. So I share that story to say, introspectively, identify who's going to see value in what it is you sell, what it is you're offering, and then develop your messaging to go after that market. But if you don't take that first step, just like with that example I shared, you're going after people who just look at very expensive dry cleaning, right? You want to go after those who truly see value in what you're offering.
That's fantastic advice, and I think, any of us on this call, even me, can take something away from that. So we're a little bit past time now, so I wanted to thank you so much, Lee, for the session. I found it super valuable. Hope everybody on the panel or participating with us found it valuable as well. If any of you do have some time, go check out Lee's book. It's an excellent read. I highly recommend it, and enjoy the rest of the Selling Forward session. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, everyone.